Hello everybody, welcome back to my Bountiful Acre. My name's Sue. In this week's video we are going to be sowing some seeds, planting a tree and some roses and pruning and prepping a whole new flower border in front of the patio. I've popped out because I've got quite a few seedlings that need moving on. These I think I'm going to put into individual pots, and this will free up my smaller seed trays which I will be needing obviously at this time of year. I also have my hula dancer seedlings, which I had inside for a little while. They've been out here for a good few weeks now, so they are sort of hardened off to greenhouse temperatures at least. I'm going to top this up and prick out some more foxgloves, although I have got quite a lot of foxgloves now. For any newbie gardeners, pricking out literally means moving a small seedling into a bigger pot. Right, so I filled the tray. I'm just going to give it a little poke. Not hard, just to make sure that there's no real massive air gaps. And then I'll add a little bit more. Poke your finger through the bottom of these. If you haven't got those kind of, if they're squishy, you can just squeeze around the edges to loosen them a little bit. And we'll pick out the biggest ones if we can get them separated. Teasing them apart. Sometimes you can feel them ripping, but you know, they either live or they don't. That's always my motto. Gently put them in the hole. Don't press too hard. When you water them, the soil will settle. Obviously go for the healthiest looking ones if you can, if you've got a lot to choose from. If you break the stem, it's a goner. So it's always best to pick up your seedlings by the leaves, because a leaf it can grow more of and it can grow roots to an extent, but if you break the stem in the middle it won't grow a new one. Give it a little bit of a jiggle. If it's got a lot of compost on it, you can always dip it in water to wash some of it off, but this will fit in anyway, so it'll be fine. Just give it a little wiggle about, gently tap them in, and as I say, the water will settle it. So that's those done. Do I need any more? I have already got these ones transplanted on, and these ones were the ones I did first. As you can tell the difference, they got done much sooner. They're all sown at the same time, but they got transplanted on quicker, so timing is essential. But they will catch up eventually. So I've got, I think, plenty there. I don't think I need any more of those, so that will free up that seed tray. In an ideal world, I would be moving on the bigger foxgloves into this size tray, which is a 15 cell tray. Which is equivalent really to a sort of 3-inch pot. These onions that I sowed haven't actually sprouted. I don't know why. Maybe it's just too cold, but they were ones I got cheap in the garden centre. These are cornflowers, purple cornflowers. But anyway, I think I might put the foxgloves into individual pots now. So I have got some bamboo small pots that I can use for those foxgloves, so I'll just move that to one side for a second. A little bit in the bottom, and then I can push out these ones to free up this pot. Oop, my finger stuck. As you can see, they've got a lovely root system on them. I'll just pop them in there, and covering the leaves with my hand, I'm just going to tap in some fresh compost around the edges. Give the pot a little tap around the edges to fill any holes and firm it in gently. So as you know, foxgloves are biennial, which means they grow a plant in the first year and flower in the second year. So that's them watered in, and they can stay there now until the springtime. Coming back to this partly filled tray, I have still got some ponytail grasses to transplant, and I have still got some apple blossom snapdragons. They weren't big enough when I transplanted the first batch. It's not something I've grown before, but they've got a lovely root system. So let's just pop those in next to the foxgloves. Life's never symmetrical, is it? Hey ho, that's that tray empty. And so I can possibly fill the rest up with snapdragons. You have to eventually become ruthless The problem when you first start gardening is you want to give every single seedling a chance. And when people say I multi-sow so that I can cull them, it's really hard to actually throw seedlings away. I find I still struggle with it. But these are hardy annuals. You can get half hardy annuals, and I would hold off sowing those until the weather's warmer. But hardy annuals, you might as well go for it if you've got the light and the space. Right, that's them done. So those are, I'm not going to look at them because I feel guilty. Right, those are done. Morning all. Today it's not raining. Absolute miracle, it's not raining for once. One muddy dog and I, actually two muddy dogs. While I've got Doug at my disposal, we've decided to start the border over by the arch. Because the ground sloped slightly towards the patio edge, we thought we would put a little bit of an edge along the slabs to stop the soil sloping and sort of level it off a bit. I also need to create a slightly higher area round by the arch for the rows so I can plant it deeply. So we're thinking we're going to use these spare posts that we've got from building the raised bed and stack them with a little gap possibly between them. So although I haven't exactly worked out how wide I want the border, I think eventually it's going to come out further, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to shape it or just keep it square, seeing the patio is all fairly oblong and straight edged. Some curves might actually add a bit of interest though. But for now we need to get the turf up and get the edge put down. So if I can only do that this weekend before the rain starts, that would be amazing. We have decided to do 3 depths with a spacer between, just for a shadow gap. And then we're going to put upright posts along. But first, we've got to get the grass up. The turfs we will lay grass side to grass side and let them rot down and use as topsoil. We've got plenty of veg beds to... Oh, sorry worm. Plenty of veg beds to fill later. Right, so Doug's finished that off for me. So now we need to measure along the length here and work out how many posts we want to put in. We think we've worked it out. We have got 6850 to the end of the patio currently, and we are going to make a little box here. But we're going to use the 3 raised planks for this side of the arch, and then we'll use the solid bits of wood that we've got left over to make the division that way and underneath the bottom of the frame, so I can plant my rows nice and deep. So that is going to be 400 wide. So there's going to be 6 posts in total along the length, starting from the end of the box, which then divided up with the 50mm posts in between, which gives us 1230 centimetres from post to post. But unfortunately, we have found a manhole cover just here, which actually goes underneath the patio. Yeah, so we can't put a post in here obviously, so we've got to make sure it misses this by some margin, because there's probably cement each side, and it is a round one, so it doesn't fill the whole of the bed, but I won't be having anything growing deeply here. I'm just gonna triple check the maths. So we've got 6850 as an overall length, minus the 400 box for the rows, minus 6 posts at 50mm, which is 300, 6150. So the gaps that are left is that much, and we've got to divide that by 5. Which makes 1230. 5 gaps between 6 posts. While Doug is cutting his trusty stick to length to do the marking out, I'm going to find some secateurs because the roses that I intend to plant need pruning. I haven't done them yet. It's not too late for pruning. It's the perfect time, in fact, while they're dormant. One of the other jobs you need to check on at this time of year is if you've got dahlias storing, which I have underneath this wall, is to double check on them, because I checked mine yesterday and discovered that the small ones, which I think were Bishop of Llandaff, have rotted away. So do be careful. They're not in any wetness or anything, they're literally wrapped in wool, but they are getting a little bit mouldy because it's quite damp. In fact, I might open them up. You don't want them to dry out, but at the same time you don't want them rotting. They still feel quite firm to the touch, but I might just leave that open for now. So those ones are fine, but as you can see, these ones were very small anyway. They never really got going. I have quite a few things in here that I'm intending to plant in that border that we're creating at the moment, and several perennials, including the orange grass out there, that I need to divide. But for now, I'm going to take my secateurs and go and prune those roses. So this is the pilgrim rose, which I'm going to put on this side of the arch. And as you can see, it's still got a lot of healthy looking green leaves, but they're going to start growing new ones soon. So I'm going to remove any dead or diseased leaves and prune out any sort of congestion or small twigs inside, and keep the main stems and prune to an outward facing bud so she'll shoot out. I know that might look a bit drastic, but we need a nice strong stem. They've got lots of buds coming, so they'll make lovely flowers all the way up, and if I bend them sideways it'll get laterals going up which will flower. So they're nice healthy stems there. So that's now ready. I might just cut that out a bit more because it's died back a little bit and you don't want that spreading into the main stem. So as you can see, Doug's made himself a measuring stick and some posts. Right, we are now screwing bottom rail to the posts. Doug's put in posts all the way down here. Okay, we are one plank down, and we have now a race against the darkness, because although it's only about 3:30, it is going dark fairly quickly. We are using an old tile just to create a little shadow gap. We're losing the light fast now, but hopefully you can see that. We have got 3 all the way along, and now what we're going to do quickly is put a 4th on the top here. I'll just show you from this side because you can see it better from this side, because I haven't got all the furniture in the way. That looks pretty good, eh? I've just come out to see if I've trapped another mouse, and I have indeed. Oh, bless him. There we go, let's zoom in a little. So, as you can see, I have got some slightly chewed up tulips. We've got a bonny tulip there. We've got some little bulbs in there. I think they might be just muscari. We have got tips coming up in these big pots too. The pak choy have actually grown. I'm quite surprised, despite the mouse chewing them up. The spinach is still alive. They look like they need a little bit of water, to be honest. And I did go to B&M Bargains, which is a shop in the UK, and get a couple of plants. So I got this fatsia and 2 ferns for the woodland. The fatsia I think I'll put in the border. It likes a bit more sunlight than the ferns. And I also got a Ceanothus skylark, which was £6.50, but a plant that size in the big garden centre was at least £15. So I think that's a bargain, and it's got quite a lot of buds on it, so I'm really pleased with that. The rhubarb's doing well. As you can see, there are little mouse holes from this morning's catch. Garlic's doing well, isn't it, Bon Bon? Garlic's doing well. The bulbs are up in these pots too, so they're doing brilliantly. Morning all. Today is a very different day to yesterday. We had howling gales and wind and rain, and today the beautiful sunshine has come out. So what could be better than a cup of coffee in the garden with my 2 favourite girls? How are we doing? Are we good? Yeah? It's very, very muddy, but at least the sun's shining and it's not a howling gale. So once I've drunk my coffee, I need to get on with this border. As you can see, we did finish the outside barrier. I just have to dig up the grass. Look at the state of this ground now. It's just a big squelchy mass. I've put an extra slab down just so I didn't slip. Right, well, let's see. Get these windows open, get the air in while the weather's nice, eh? Let's get these windows opened. I showed you my plants yesterday while it was windy, but yeah, need to get on with it. I've got this huge box of bulbs to plant, but the only way they're going to get planted is if I dig up the grass. So my cold, thank you for all the kind words, is practically gone. I'm just building up my energy levels. So digging that tiny bit of grass that I did at the weekend floored me, and I had muscles that I didn't know I existed aching all over. But anyway, hopefully, I'm still a little bit breathless, but hopefully it's gone. There's no coughing or sneezing or anything now. Oh, just noticed I'm getting some rainbow patterns off my sun catcher. Oh, isn't that lovely? Very pretty. I hope you can see those. So yesterday I did sow the leeks, and they've been in here all night. They're quite warm underneath this cloche. So I will transfer them to a shelf. I'm not going to take them inside because it does get quite warm in here during the day. In fact, it's currently saying that it's 15 degrees in here, but obviously the sun's out. So that is great. So I will leave the doors open. Ventilation is your friend at this time of the year. If it gets damp, you run the risk of getting botrytis, which is just mold basically. But apart from that, everything else seems to be okay. Apart from this clematis. I'm not sure whether that's just dieback general or whether it's completely dead, but we'll see. I might chop it off and see if any new shoots appear. The honeysuckle is looking a bit ropey, but it has still got some green leaves on it. Right, I'll get this coffee down me and then we will go and do some digging. So you're going to help me, Bonbon? Are you going to help me dig the soil? Yeah, are you? Okay, let's get to work. One thing is for sure, I am not up to full fitness. We have got a lot of worms in here, which is always a good thing, eh? Lots of lovely worms. Now you might be wondering why I'm taking the turf off, and it's a good question. There's more worms here, look. There's worms everywhere. I suppose it's been so wet. Doug did ask me why I wasn't just going to put cardboard. As much as I hate digging soil, this whole area has just been a sort of pathway alongside the patio for so long that it's quite compacted. Now I don't want to dig deep or anything like that. I will just dig the holes where I'm planting things. And the turfs won't go to waste. The topsoil, I will turn the turfs into the bottom of the raised veg beds when we start building them. So I'm just piling them up by the greenhouse for now. So I am literally going to take the surface off, plant things where I want them, mixed with a bit of compost and grit because it's a clay soil. It looks good, but it is quite compacted. We will remove the grass here and put some sort of path. We have got some spares of those slabs left, I think. So we could potentially put some more of those in, but it is sloping away towards the patio. I don't think that comes out on camera. And then on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get Doug, if he's got any posts left, to build another edge. You see the slopes coming this way and that way in that corner. So I might put an end on that end of the border so that I can fill in with soil a little bit. How are we doing, girls? Are we good? Yeah. We have just got back from the garden centre where we bought this lovely little tree with a voucher that we got at Christmas. It is from the garden centre, but it's grown by Frank P. Matthews. It's Amelanchier Rainbow Pillar. Now, I have had Amelanchiers before, but not the Rainbow Pillar variety. It's a compact tree, and as you can see, it's growing in a sort of column shape. Bonnie's giving it a good checking out because it's new. And it's a beautiful, beautiful plant. You can get it as a shrub as well. So it is really tolerant of wet clay soil. So that's what we've got here. And what happens is, in the springtime, it is covered in bronzy coloured foliage, which opens to green eventually. Then it gets white flowers. Then it grows berries, and then in the autumn it changes colour into beautiful autumn colours. This one is called Rainbow Pillar. Partly the pillar is because of the shape, but also because it gets lots of different colours all at once in the autumn apparently. This one I am going to put towards the end of this border, but I'm going to bring it out possibly to where Bonnie is, because I need to give it a little bit of room, and I want to underplant it with some flowers and things. And then, as I've told you in previous videos, that side is going to be gravel garden and fire pit area, sitting area. And where the wheelbarrow and stuff is going to be our barbecuing area. We're going to make a sort of division between the two areas. So that'll be cooking. And then the table will be over this side. But this border, which I still haven't finished digging, needs to come out probably double the depth. I also got this tree. This one is basically a rowan or mountain ash, as they're well known. And this one has orange berries and lovely sort of spiky leaves. Autumn spire, this one's called. So again, sort of a spire shaped one, also tolerant of wet conditions and has autumn colour. So that should be good. Don't chew that. That's my new grass, you little tinker. I also picked up this grass that Bonnie's eating. And we bought a bigger one because the small ones were about £6.99. This was £12.99, but I think I could easily divide this into 4 or 5 plants. So I've got the 2 orangey grasses already, plus I've got babies growing upstairs as seeds. This one I'm going to divide. After much digging and cursing and throwing rocks into a bucket, seems that when they built this house it wasn't much better than they are these days. There's a lot of rubble under here. Roof tiles, bits of rock, bits of slate, and lots of clay. 2 different colours in fact. So getting a hole deep enough to plant that was quite the effort. But it's in. It's got compost grit, but mixed in with the original clay soil. It does like clay and wet, apparently, which is a good job because it's really soggy there. We also got the pilgrim rose in up against the arch. So I've got plenty of space around the edges to plant something. I'm not quite sure what yet, but this is the pilgrim, which is yellow, so it's got some good sturdy shoots on it, so it should take off really well. Right, so all I need to do now is get digging. So hopefully by the next video, this border will be dug. Fingers crossed. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye for now.